All right, hello, my wonderful students. This is, is it not? Oh, there we go. Hello, my wonderful students. This is Foldable 3, section 2.5, writing an equation given a graph. And then we're going to use this formula here. F of x is equal to a parentheses x minus h parentheses plus k. And remember, this changes according to what you're doing. So if it's if you're using the square, the quadratic like you're using here, then it would be squared. If you're using the absolute value, then it's going to be absolute values. If you're using the square root, then it's going to be a square root. If you're using the cube root, then it would be a cube root. So this is going to change according to what function you're using. That's why this is just the regular notation. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the first one, which is here. We can zoom in a little bit. All right, so this is an absolute value function. So I went ahead and already did the absolute value for you guys and worked it out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our step one. And our step one is actually going to be to find the vertex. So, step one, identify the vertex. All right, so how do we do that? Well, we know that the vertex is the point of the graph where the two parts meet up, where the axis of symmetry is. So if you guys remember, the axis of symmetry goes here. So if you divide the graph in half, it'll be reflection of itself. So we know the vertex hits that point there. Okay, so we can already say that the vertex, oops, wrong color, it's supposed to be black. The vertex is, open parenthesis, and let's count. So it's -1, -1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So it's at -1, +4. But we're going to go ahead and write this in our HK format. So we have our -1 and our +4. So our H is, where is that? Our H is going to equal 1, and our K is going to equal -1. So we know it's 1 because if this is -1 here, that means, oh sorry, H is -1. -1. And I don't know why I put -1 for the K. I'm sorry. The K is supposed to be 4. K is 4. So the H is -1, and then our K is 4. That's what we got there. All right. So now step 2. Change colors. Step 2, let's do in green. Step 2. So now we got to identify the slope of the right side and of this equation. So I'm just going to put of the right side. So we're going to do this on the right side of the axis of symmetry. So remember the axis of symmetry from the abbreviation before. So I wanted to be explicit because it is it can be kind of confusing. So what we're going to do is we're going to see here. So it wants the slope of this side here. So we're going to see that there's another point here that crosses. There's another point here, but we can just use this one here. So we're going to use rise over run here. Rise over run. So we see here that the rise is -1 and the run is, so the rise is -1 and the run is 1, 2, 3. So this here that we're using is actually going to be our A. So our A is going to be equal to our -1/3. Some of you are saying, where did you get this A from? If you notice here, we have y is equal to A times our absolute value of x minus h, absolute value plus k. So this A is going to be either our factor which compresses or our factor which stretches. So that's the first one here. So now we have our vertex, and we have our A, which is everything that we need, because we don't need to identify the X and the Y. We just have to know that it's there. All right, so go ahead and use a different colors. Use blue now. So step 3. So step 3 is basically write the equation. Oops, write the equation. All right, so we're going to substitute our A, H, and K into our equation up here. So we have our Y is equal to, our A was negative 1/3 times X minus H. Our H is negative 1, so minus a negative 1 will give us a positive 1, plus our K, which is 4. And now we wrote our equation for this vertex.